Hey, it's Kylie from the beaches hanging out on the Kelly Alexander show.
What's up, y'all? I'm Kelly Clarkson.
Hey, it's Steve McRae.
Hey, I'm Josh from the band Need to Breathe.
I'm Olivia Lunny.
We are so excited to welcome to the Kelly Alexander Show, Akon. Hi.
What up, girls?
Hey, I'm Judy Gold.
And I'm hanging out with the Kelly Alexander Show.
This is Jordan, and I'm hanging out on the Kelly Alexander Show.
I'm Rob, and I'm hanging out on the Kelly Alexander Show.
I'm hanging out with the Kelly Alexander Show right now.
Jealous?
Super excited to welcome this young lady to the show. She is part of an amazing group, an award-winning group, a Juno award-winning group, The Beaches. Kylie Miller, welcome to the Kelly Alexander Show.
Hi, Kelly.
So super happy to have you on, and there's much to discuss, including the fact that you guys had a killer 2024. So is that your best year yet, you think, as part of the band?
Honestly, I would say so. It was so crazy. I barely spent any time at home. I counted how many times we flew. We flew 83 times in 2024. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of like not sleeping, but the most rewarding and fulfilling year yet. So it was incredible.
If you look back at that year, because I know like I was, scoping you guys out, obviously on social media, checking everything, and I saw like so many different things that you did, including like going to Australia, playing Kimmel, the two Juno Awards, the 16,000 people you played for at Budweiser stage. Do you have a moment that sticks out to you that is your absolute favorite?
I think Budweiser stage was up there for all of us just because it was such like an incredible moment to have in our hometown. But the whole tour that we did, like the Blame My Ex tour, it was so amazing to be able to travel so many different places with this new album. So going to Europe, going to Australia, the US, Canada, and being able, like having everybody connect with it, that was so special. So I think just the Budweiser stage show was the highlight, but honestly, doing the whole tour was just every day was a dream come true.
Let's talk a little bit about sort of pre-pandemic, pandemic, and then where you are now. So
Sure.
pre-pandemic, you guys did have a label deal. Then you got dropped during pandemic, as did many artists because of the world being upside down. Then you went independent. How do you feel about all things pandemic and how it's affected your career?
I mean, it was so crazy at the time. And because we've been a touring band for so long now, it was kind of the first time that we actually were forced to stop. So I think like we're all kind of like, in a sense, we were grateful for the pause, but it also like made us realize that like without live music, we kind of have nothing to live for. Like this is like it's not only our job, but it's like our first love. And it really was like experiencing heartbreak with that being taken away. So I think it gave us like a much greater appreciation for how impactful and powerful live music can be and how incredible our job is. So being faced with doing like a year and a half touring after the pandemic, it truly does seem like a dream come true because when that was taken away, like you realize how important it is.
When you guys were dropped, what was the mood like? Or and how long did it take you to maybe flip the script if it did put you in a bad mood where you're like, no, this is a possibility, this is opportunity for us?
I mean, it was definitely quite scary. We had been signed since we were like in high school. So we did like all of our formative years like with a label and having that extra support. So being on our own was definitely like really scary and intimidating. But it didn't take us long to kind of like flip the script, as you said, and realize that now it meant that we actually had all the power and we could choose who we wanted to hire and really we could release the music that we had been wanting to release for so long and that we had full control. And it wasn't going to be up to anybody else how we were going to dress, what we were going to sound like. It was all in our hands. So that was super powerful.
Who in the band at that moment started to see the opportunity? Was it you? Because I feel like you are the
Yeah,
actor. Okay.
it was definitely me. I mean, at the same time that we got dropped, we also did let go of our management. So it was like we were really, really on our own. And then we met our manager, Lori, who really helped kind of like bring all these ideas that kind of we didn't even think were possible. Like she highlighted them and she really helped kind of like get everything in place in order to kind of put our best foot forward being an independent artist.
And when you guys started to plan doing your next record, again, being like independent at this point, what was the plan? Like, who were you going to work with? Did it all come about kind of organically, or did you guys have a vision and then executed?
Well, we kind of didn't know what to do because at before that we were working a lot in LA and like writing most of our music out there. And when we were independent, obviously you don't have that budget to go to LA and to like work with those people that you would work with the label support. So we actually started looking for like local Canadian talent to like help co-write and co-produce. So we work with a bunch of people in Toronto and we ended up meeting some incredible people and writing some incredible music. And once we worked with Gus Van Gogh and Lowell, who ended up co-producing Blame My Ex, it was like a no-brainer that that's who we wanted to work with creatively, like moving forward for the record. And it ended up being super fun.
What was the tipping point that has taken you guys to where you are now? Because it felt like it was that clip that went viral with Blame Brett. Was it that?
I think that that's the thing that really pushed us in front of an international audience. Obviously, like I think that we've been kind of growing as a band in Canada for like the past 10 years, like with the radio play and getting the Juno Awards, and that's been so amazing. But for so long, we found it hard to connect with like the US and like Europe and places outside of Canada. But with TikTok being such like an international app, once that song went viral, I think a lot of people started discovering our music who hadn't heard it before. So I think, and just utilizing social media a little bit more, that really kind of helped get our name out there and reach other countries that we hadn't, like places where they hadn't heard us.
How crucial has your social media manager, I think it's Megan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how has she helped shape you guys? Because I feel like she's almost like the unofficial fifth member of the band.
Oh, she absolutely is. I mean, the thing about Meg is she really kind of just like pushes us to like, you know, post and be ourselves because she was the one to kind of like, let us know that, we're funny and people want to see that side of our personality. And if it's not us posting our own videos, it's her capturing it behind the scenes and then posting it. So just like the fans can get like a better sense of who we are as people and like how that comes into play with like the music that we make and just like our relationships to one another. I think it like lets everybody know who we are and that really like also impacts the music that we make.
Speaking of the band, I wanted to ask your opinion on this because I heard an interview, I read it. It's been a while since I did this, but I think it was John Bon Jovi maybe who said that the most difficult part of being in a band is being in a band. Uh, but obviously you guys have been super tight for a long time. Is it a roller coaster ride, or you guys have your anchor and you are all for one, one for all kind of thing?
I mean, there's definitely challenges from time to time, especially when you're spending so much time together. But because we've been doing this for so long, we've learned how to communicate really efficiently. And we know that like sweeping things under the rug just doesn't result in anything positive. So we just try to be as direct with one another. And obviously, that can be a little bit hard at times, but it's worked so far. And I think that it is true. It is hard to be in a band, but I'd say the hardest thing about being in a band is honestly you don't realize how much you have to wait around for stuff. Like that is the hardest thing for me to wrap my head around. Like you're just waiting so much in kind of like poorly lit rooms with not with like a lot of like Diet Coke and like chips. Like that's the reality.
Because you guys tour so much, what is your like routine or regime to stay physically in a good place? Because, I know back in the day it was very much looked upon to be like super wild, do whatever you need to do, all that stuff. But now when you see even older bands like Motley Crue, for example, I know I interviewed Nikki Sixx and he talked about how much like working out he does to prep for tour. Obviously, he's way older than he
Hmm.
was when he was, starting out, but he's like, no, I need to do this to make sure I'm in the best shape possible for the fans. And so, like, what's the MO for you guys to tour and to get ready for it?
Think we're all kind of at like different places with that. Like, I think for some of us, like their version of like the rest that they need before tour is like being more isolated, like cooking meals at home, prepping, just kind of like getting that alone time that they need in order to kind of be social for the next period of time. And then like my sister Jordan, the lead singer, she'll be like out all the time with her friends, getting that like socialite Toronto energy out before she has to go hang out with us for like 6 months. But for me, I just try to like, I'm definitely someone who tries to prioritize being active. So I'm active, like working out all the time, like before the tour and then as well as like on tour. But I also think it's like important to like see friends as much as possible when I am home because I'm home pretty like limitedly. And another thing on tour is like we like to do something on a day off like once a week or every 2 weeks where the band and the crew we all get together and we go like to like top golf or go play pool and have like a night to kind of like blow off a little bit of steam in a responsible ish way, while like playing a game and having like some bonding with everybody just to keep the morale up.
That's a good idea, I think, to keep everybody like feeling good as you're out there.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the writing process for you guys. And I know you're writing new music now, which I'm going to talk about in a sec, but who brings ideas to the table? Like, is it always somebody different? Is there a way that you guys always do stuff, or is it up in the air?
So Jordan, my sister, she's like the main lyricist for the band, but it's really funny. So Blame My Ex obviously was about her breakup that she had, her big breakup, and how we kind of helped like put her back together again, how she put herself back together again. But for this album, obviously she's in a new relationship now, so she's like happy. So she's pulling from like my heartbreak, Leandra's heartbreak. It's kind of like all of our different stories and airing out like dirty laundry to her and then she's kind of writing the songs that way. So it's like a really interesting process, but we've given her a lot of ideas and we'll edit her, but she's kind of the main creative lyrical person in the group.
And then how do you guys work around that instrumentation wise?
So Leandra and I can like we'll predominantly like switch kind of who plays lead, who plays rhythm, but we'll build the tracks around kind of what Jordan is doing. And oftentimes it happens like all in the same room, like with our co-writers and producer. We'll kind of hear what Jordan's doing with the top liner and then start playing something. And then it's kind of like a chain reaction. They get inspired, we get inspired, and it's kind of like the most chaotic way of doing it and it happens very fast. It's not like we're all in like a big jam room or something, but like we'll just kind of lay parts down as we go and build the song that way, then take some space from it, listen over to it, and then edit it as we need to.
Now, the new music that you're working on, uh, do you have a specific direction? I know you talked about Jordan is in a good place, so she's having to pull from different different directions right now. Um, do you think it's going to be a happy record? Is it going to be a mix of that? Like, what do you want your fans to know what's coming?
um I don't know if any of our records are going to be like particularly like happy. They're always going to be fun and like funny, but I think for the last record, we focused so much on like blaming our exes, obviously. And I think for this one, we're kind of pointing the finger back at ourselves and internalizing our own behavior a little bit more, maybe doing a little bit of therapy and just kind of like taking a look inward and blaming ourselves a bit, if that makes sense. But still in like a fun, tongue-in-cheek way. Yeah, and it is really, I think the core essence of the record so far has proven to be like sisterhood and being able to kind of tell your friends what you're going through and yeah, like just expressing that to the people that you love. It's like the main theme of everything.
Now, I wanted to ask you too, because you guys have had such success with Blame My Ex, and it feels like you guys were obviously in the zone working on those songs and putting that album together. Is what you're doing now pressure filled, or are you still in a zone and just feel like, no, we know what we're doing, we're just gonna have a good time, and we're not putting pressure on ourselves?
I mean, I think it's kind of a little bit of both. Definitely when we first started um writing this new album, I think we were feeling a lot of that pressure and trying to like mimic the exact same things that we did with Blame My Ex. And obviously I don't really think that that's how like life works and how success works. Like it's obviously always going to ebb and flow. Um so we took a little bit of space from that and kind of calmed down, and we started working with a couple new people, and we just wanted to have fun in the studio again because that's what we also did for Blame My Ex. There wasn't like that much pressure on it, and it was so successful. And once we did that, I think that we started kind of like finding that zone again and like, feeling good about what we were creating. It just took a little bit of like time to not worry too much about it.
Do you guys ever want to, and I don't know if you've done this in the past, do you ever want to come to Montreal to work on music here? Because I know a lot of people that are from Toronto find Montreal very inspiring.
Oh, I bet. I'm honestly, I that would be super fun. I don't think that we've ever done it. Maybe not in the winter,
Yeah.
but but I mean, we would be down to do it, honestly, anytime. Sometimes it's like you just need a little bit of a change of scenery to kind of get out of a slump. Like when we were in a little bit of a rough, like a rut, we went to LA and just worked with a bunch of people down there. And I don't know if we're gonna use like all the songs, but it was nice to like write in a place that was like warm and just different than, working in Toronto all the time. So Montreal would be a great next edition.
What does it feel like to hear? Because, for example, we're playing one of your songs, obviously, on the station I work for, which is Virgin Radio Montreal. Obviously, it's being played right across the country on Virgin stations. Have you heard the song on Virgin yet? You must have.
I have. It was so cool because I grew up like I listen to pop music always. So finally being on Virgin Radio was truly like the coolest thing ever. It came on the other day when I was driving with my mom.
That's
It was
amazing.
amazing.
Was that the first time you heard it?
On Virgin Radio, yeah, my first time. And now my parents listen to Virgin Radio. They switch between the alt stations and Virgin just so that they can hear it on both.
That's amazing. Well, it's been so fun to have you guys on our station, especially because I was telling you before we started recording that, when you guys came to Montreal right before pandemic, you were on our sister station, Shom, which is the rock station. And now to have you on our station, the Top 40 station, like it's amazing to me. So how does it feel to know you've been embraced by like Pop Canada, if I can call it that?
Oh, it's amazing. I think that like we've always kind of wanted to have that little bit of crossover because like the artists that we really love, they have that. Like they're alternative and unique, but still pop. Like Chapel Roan, for instance. Like that's really the path that we've always wanted to um be on. And so to finally like make it over and have that little crossover moment is like amazing for us. We're stoked to be on Virgin.
And what was it like when you did come to Montreal? I know you've probably been here a bunch of times, but how do you feel about our city? Like, what's your favorite thing about Montreal?
Oh, we love Montreal so much. We did a couple shows this at like the end of summer, and we were like doing festivals across Canada, and we had a show in Ottawa and then Quebec City, and we took a night off just so that we could eat in Montreal and then get back on the bus and drive to Quebec. So definitely the food. We went to Liverpool House and had like a huge dinner, and it was so good. I also love the karaoke bars in Montreal, and obviously poutine, steamies, like all those kind of like generic answers. But I mean, it is the best in the world. Like you're not going to get better than that anywhere else.
Can you either confirm or deny something for me? Because I obviously born and bred Montrealer, but I did live in Toronto for many years, and I've gone to concerts in many different places, Boston, like all Detroit, you name it. I feel like we are different, Montrealers, as fans for like music and live music. Do you think your Montreal fans are different than other places?
Yeah, Montreal fans go really hard. I always like for a long time, when we were selling tickets, like we would find like Montreal and Quebec in general be like a little bit harder to like sell those markets. But the shows were always insane, like crazy, really into it. Like Toronto and Vancouver sometimes can be a little bit more like arms crossed, like a little bit more tense, but Montreal just like they get into it.
That's amazing. Do you have a message for your Montreal fans?
We love our Montreal fans so much. We can't wait to come back on this next tour that we're doing and see all you guys again. Yeah, we love you. Keep being weird and keep being amazing.
Perfect. And I did want to ask you too, you guys just put up on your social media teasing a new song. Do we get to know what the title is or when it's going to be released?
That song is called Last Girls at the Party. It's a little bit too true for all of us in the band, I would say. Um, and I don't know exactly when it's coming out, but we actually just finished recording it yesterday. So very soon.
Amazing. That's perfect. And I do just want to finish off. I know you've got some big festivals coming up. What does it feel like to be going to Coachella? And in a way, like you're representing Canada, like we're all so excited for you.
Oh, I mean, again, that's like a bucket list festival that we've always wanted to do. It's so cool to have this opportunity to be able to play that. We're very excited. We're quite nervous, obviously, but we hope we make Canada proud.
No doubt. And last question, you guys have won so many awards. We've talked about the Junos. You also won a Billboard Canada, for women in music. What do awards mean for you guys? Like, is it a confirmation that your guys are on the right path, that you've been on the right path? What does it feel like to win?
I mean, they obviously feel like incredible and to be recognized by this country and just recognized by, for what we're doing and our efforts in the music industry just feel like a really incredible accomplishment. Like, I feel like, you know, 10 years ago, there weren't that many women in like the rock music scene. And just being here and making an impact in that way and maybe changing that. So there are more women involved in it is just like an incredible feeling and just like embracing that change and seeing that and being recognized with awards feels really, really good.
Kylie, thank you so much for doing this. It's been so amazing to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
That is Kylie Miller, again from The Beaches. Don't forget to check out their website for all their social media handles, thebeachesband.com.
Hey, it's Kelly Alexander, and thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Kelly Alexander Show, so you are the first in line for all the cool content coming your way.